Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Mama Teach. So I am going to make my December video of all the things we did in December. I like to try to have these, ideally I would like to have these out before December so you could use some of these ideas, but I don't plan like that, and I don't plan definitely more than 2 weeks in advance. I usually plan like this. If I plan this week, it's for next week. So I typically only plan like a week in advance. And sometimes I'm like planning on a Sunday for the following Monday. So that's why these videos always come out after the fact. The only one that's gonna hopefully come out before is January's, which won't even be a full thing of January. It'll just be a new year. So I'm gonna show you some like New Year's ideas, just things that I do in here. It's nothing that I've created. It's nothing that I've come up with on my own. It's just gonna be everybody else's. So that'll be a separate video, but that will be beforehand or like the week of. So depending on when you go back. We go back pretty early in January. So if you go back maybe even a week later than me, the video will be a little bit helpful, I hope. So as always, I have my trusty boxes here. So this is December's box. I tried to mention it in another video that I use these boxes, but I don't know if the footage actually made it into the video. I think I had trouble finding the footage. Maybe I didn't actually record that part. I don't really know. But anyway, if I didn't, and it wasn't in my last video, because would have been in the last video, but I use one of these boxes for every month, and instead of a filing cabinet. And this just works better for me because I can move the files, like whatever the activity may be, I can move it from box to box if I decide to do it in a different one, or if I like think back to last year and I'm like, oh, I know I did that activity, you know, in the winter time. I know it's either going to be in December or January's box. And so it kind of just helps my brain, and I don't have to save space for a filing cabinet. I do have to save space for these, and I do have one for every month, except for June and July. So and really some boxes some months could have 2 boxes, but it just is what it is. Anyway, this helps me, and I just labeled the boxes, and yeah. So as I plan, I just pull out what I want for the week, or 2 weeks coming up, and then as I use it, I keep this underneath this table right here up on top of my mailbox system. So then as I use the things, I literally just set it on top. And then at the end of the month, or I try to do it every couple of weeks because sometimes the pile gets thick, but like this is the last like 2 weeks of school. So I just stick it all back in this box. I don't typically have the boxes in like any type of order or anything like that. There's copies just everywhere in here. But again, this works for me, and if this doesn't work for you, that is totally fine. But some things for like Christmas, I end up having to have a separate box. So this is just like a storage, just a cardboard box that we used for something, or I got an Amazon package or something in, I don't know. Anyway, I just saved it. So inside of it is all things Christmas. So lots of things that I use, but like obviously it's everything but copies. So if it requires like decorations, or it requires like hands-on things, it goes in a box like that instead of in here. These are just copies. So except for like my October or November box had the owl pellets in it, but that was just the one thing. So in this box, I just have some hanging decorations that I used at our party. Just got these from Walmart last year, and they were on sale after Christmas time. So I bought them right after last Christmas, and just saved them because I knew I would be able to decorate with them. I have a box of envelopes that I just keep on hand because when I taught first grade, we wrote letters to Santa every year for our local newspaper, and so I needed those envelopes. These are just some holiday stamps. I didn't actually end up using them this year. I have some muffin tins for like different, last year we used them for like different sequins and things that we used to decorate some snowflakes, this year we made these borax ornaments. So I just am gonna keep this one wrapped up in here so I can, one, remember that I did this activity, and two, so that I can hang it on our tree. I need to put my tree away, but I'm not really sure where I'm gonna put it. This wasn't at my house decoration, and now I've moved it to my classroom. Just some knives. I've got a bunch of photo props. I've got like a door hanger. All my kids did celebrate Christmas this year, so this year was a little easier. Last year, a couple of my kids did not celebrate Christmas, so I went with like a winter theme. Everything was blue and white instead of Christmas colors. Christmas lights. We use this for like a snowball toss game. Some gift tags that this is what these are the snowflakes we made last year. So again, everything was winter themed. So I just had in the muffin tins, I had some different sequins and paints and things for them to use for this. And here's just some different gift tags that I used for an ornament that we made this year. So cute, it was super cute. I'll try to insert a picture of the ornaments. But they're like little snowmen made from popsicle sticks and like on jumbo craft sticks. And anyway, they were just cute. So I've got some knives, and the plastic knives is what I have in there. I was gonna say I have some napkins and things, but I have some plastic knives in there because we used those for the gingerbread houses that we made at our Christmas party this year. So this year at our Christmas party, we did gingerbread houses out of graham crackers. So they're just different candy varieties that I had on the table in like a divided bowl, but you could also use the muffin tins. I just bought divided bowls because I thought it would be like a divided plate, like a chip plate, and then it had like the dip in the middle. But I think those plates actually got thrown away. I bought them from Dollar Tree, thank goodness, but I think they got thrown away by my room mom at the end of my party, or my intern, and so I'll have to buy more next year. But they came from Dollar Tree, but they worked great. So we just had all the candies, and we made gingerbread houses. We played, one of my parents made like a saran wrap ball game. So we sat in a circle and they rolled the dice, and when they got doubles, the ball passed. But that was a lot of fun. It had a lot of candy in it, and it had some like slap bracelets and some little inflatable bag things that she got from Dollar Tree. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. It took up a lot of time. And then I have a bunch of photo props in that box that one of my parents donated. And so I just closed the black curtains on that are in my classroom, and they stood in front of that, took all these pictures and stuff like that. Oh, and I had a couple pin the nose on the snowman and pin the nose on the reindeer that I made. And so my kids loved that. So, okay, anyway, going into some activities that we did in December. I'm kind of working backwards, I guess. So Christmas party was the week we got out, and in that week we also did the borax ornaments. So growing the ornaments, how did you make the ornaments, list the steps below. And then on this side, this was what my ornament looked like before I put it in water, what it looked like after I put it in water, and then what happened or what changed. So it was 2 pipe cleaners twisted together and made into like a candy cane shape that you saw. And then in my crock pot, I took the red and white pipe cleaner, then I cut them in half. So each kid got half of a red and half of a white, and they twisted it together and made a candy cane. And then I, in my crock pot, filled up my crock pot with hot water and 1/3 of a box of borax, and let that melt, like dissolve in there for a few hours. And then the kids helped me tie them to a popsicle stick that I should have wrote their name on, and I didn't, but next year I'm going to. I wrote their name on the popsicle stick and then tied the candy cane with a piece of string, whatever you're gonna use to hang the ornament. Tie that to the popsicle stick and a candy cane and drop it down in like a cup. So the popsicle stick, here's the cup, popsicle stick sits on top of the cup and it dangles in the borax. So then you pour enough borax solution in there to cover up the candy cane, because if you don't cover the candy cane, it won't grow. So it says to leave it overnight, but mine grew by the end of the day. So I was able to take mine out of the borax solution by the time my kids had left. So I think I might have used too much borax, but more was better than none. Because a lot of teachers didn't use enough, and because all of 2nd grade did it. And a lot of teachers didn't use enough, so they had to go back and do it again. So I made sure to use plenty, because I was one of the last teachers to do it. So I made sure to use plenty. Anyway, and like I said, I used a third of the box, so I could have done it 3 times. I ended up having to do it twice because I didn't have enough solution. So do plan to make 2 batches of it, or if you have 2 crock pots, that would be even better. But I put 2 kids, I made every kid partner up with somebody, and I put 2 candy canes per cup. So I got like 16-ounce solo cups, not like the big ones, but like the medium ones, and 2 kids per cup. And I wrote their names on the cup, but then once I took them off the popsicle stick, I didn't know whose was whose because they all look the same pretty much. So I should have wrote the names on the popsicle sticks and left them dangling from the popsicle stick when I laid them out to dry, because once you take them out of the solution, you have to let them dry on a napkin, and that's where my mistake came from. So, note to self. Also that week we had Polar Express Day, so the kids can wear their pajamas. We have something, a school-wide assembly, and then we come back and everybody watches Polar Express. We drink hot chocolate and eat cookies. And one of the activities requires this. So it's just pieces, and then they have to cut it out and they can make a train. There is a right way to make the train. However, I don't have the right way. So I literally just let my kids make it however they wanted. So we made that. This is an activity, it just makes like a little snowman. So here's the body, and then the nose, the hat, and then they can pick from the eyes, and then there's the mouth. So we just used all of this, and every year I get Publix to donate a class set of brown bags, and we decorate them. My kids are here if you can hear them. We decorate the brown bags with something. Usually we do Santa Claus, but since last year my kids couldn't celebrate Christmas, I went with a snowman. And then since my kids this year decorated a Santa Claus last year in 1st grade, and I moved up with them this year, so we did a snowman this year because nobody else had made one. So my 2nd grade idea is going to be the snowman. That way I don't have to go find the Santa Claus one. But anyway, so they put the snowman together and they glue it to the front of the bag, and then I just put their name on the bag. And then at the end of the week, they can take home all their ornaments. Like this year we made 4 ornaments. They can take home their ornaments. They can take home all of their Christmas artwork, things like that. So the bag just helps get everything home and hopefully less damage because they're not shoving it in their backpack. Another thing that we did was an elf writing. So I have it starts with this. I'm gonna sneeze, sorry. Okay, so it starts with this, bless me. Starts with this parent homework, and the parents can give the child's real name, obviously, so I know whose paper it is, and then they give their child an elf name, and then they tell me why they picked that name. Not that it matters, but they just tell me why. And then so on like Monday, so this was 2 weeks prior to break. So on a Monday, we did this elf application. So I sent this home on a Friday and asked for it back by the following Thursday. So they had like a week to complete this. So on Monday we did this elf application, reasons why they would make a great elf. And then it breaks it down into 2 different graphic organizers. And if I would have had enough time, I would have done both graphic organizers. I'm trying to find the 2nd one. But I really just didn't have the time this year. But unfortunately, I do not see the, oh, here it is, okay. So there's 2 graphic organizers. So reasons I would make a great elf. So the previous years I've made them fill in all of these circles, and then it comes to this one. So this was like brainstorming, and then this is like the pre-writing. So it's like state your opinion, conclusion of your opinion, your 3 reasons why. So I make them fill out all 6 of this one day, and then the next day we pick 3 off of this list to do the 3 reasons, and then you have to give an example. This is a little tricky for my 1st graders. So my 2nd graders, it was a lot easier. And I really only had to help the ones who are struggling writers. So, but anyway, I skipped this step this year and went straight to this. So we just picked 3 reasons why. We did the yellow one day. So I did yellow, and then the next day we went through and did the pink, just to kind of make it not so like overwhelming to them. And then once they get here, then they get this elf paper, and they literally just rewrite what was on here. So if I started early enough and I had enough time, Obviously you could do like a peer edit with this, you could do a rough draft with this, but again, for time's sake this year, I just went straight from the ELF application to the graphic organizer to the paper. But again, with second grade, they haven't quite been taught how to like peer edit and proofread and all of those things. So I was a little lenient with their writings, but the things I checked for, I made a rubric. So the things I checked for, were they using the writing lines correctly? Because this is something that we practice a lot in my room anyway, not grade level wise, but that's something we practice. Are there finger spaces? Are there legible, you know, is their handwriting legible? Did they use the phonics skills that I've taught? Did they try to spell the most common words correctly that I've taught? Or sight words, red words, whatever you want to call them. Did they give the 3 reasons? Did they give the 3 examples that make sense and go with the reason? And did they provide an opening and closing statement? So here's the rubric. And then once they turn this in, the next day on their desk when they get here is an elf hat. So I print this out on cardstock, and then I leave this on their desk, and they color it and cut it out. And then they already have on their desk a sentence strip that is stapled, and on it is the name that their parent gave them. So whatever name was on here, I wrote on the sentence strip, and then I stapled it to make it like hat shaped. And then once they got here for morning work, they colored and cut this out, and then I stapled this to their hat. So now they have an elf hat. So they've obviously, and I had a letter from Santa up on my board that was like, you know, you'll be the greatest elves ever, blah, blah, blah. You've been accepted. And this is their you've been accepted hat. So they get to wear this all day. And I have some very cute writings on the wall. I will insert pictures here. But to go along with the writing, there's already this little elf guy up here, but we just leave him black and white just to not distract from the writings and the cute little elf that comes with it. So everybody gets a partner and a dice. And so they roll. I gave 2 dice, and they just share the paper because they need the paper, but they don't have to like use it, I guess, like write on it or anything. So each kid got their own dice. But so like on their first roll, depending on what number they rolled, they had to like draw this hat. And then their second roll, they had to draw a face. Third roll, the shirts. And then the 4th roll, the legs and shoes. Anyway, this is my favorite activity of all time. I just end up loving it so much every year. The little elves are so adorable. I do it on a half sheet of cardstock, and then I cut them out and glue them with their writings. So some of them turn out to be like this big, some of them turn out to be like this big, but they're no wider, than a half sheet of paper. So I don't do a full sheet because that's just way too big. But anyway, it's the cutest little thing. I'll insert some pictures. Let's see what else. Then we do another craft that I do, and it ends up looking like this when they cut it out. Another craft that I do is a reindeer ornament every year. So this is my example, my handprint. So they do their handprint, and then I go back with Sharpies and do all the decorations, and then I laminate these, punch a hole in it, and I use pipe cleaners as my like ornament hanger. I just cut 1 in half and use that as my ornament hanger. So some examples of that. We do a poinsettia every year. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I like to pretend like I am. So it's tissue paper art. So I give them each a red, yellow, and green piece of tissue paper, and they fill in each of these with the corresponding colors. But first we read the legend of the poinsettia. It's actually a really good book, and this year it worked out perfectly though, because we were already learning about like fables and legends and folk tales and all that, so that fell right into that. I have been doing a reading log type thing that I told you about in my previous videos. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, stop and then you can go watch that. You'll know what I'm talking about. But this year for my December reading log, I just did this one right here. So they had to color one. This one's obviously much smaller than The other ones, when they come back, I'll take it up and see. Because like I told you, I put these in their binders. So they've had this all winter break. So we've been off for almost, by the time we get back, we'll have been off for almost 2.5 weeks. I'm in here over my Christmas break. So it says read to someone younger than you, read to a family member on the phone, read by candlelight or flashlight, read while listening to music, read with your scarf and gloves on, read a Christmas book, read in bed. It says read the instructions to a game and then play it. So like they're not even having to read like a real book. Because I've already mentioned, like, if you're gonna give reading homework, that's great. But if you don't make it enjoyable, then it's likely not to get done. And like, while yes, I would love for them to like read a specific passage and do this and do that, but like, it's just not realistic a lot of times, especially if you're in like a lower income school or a school that doesn't have great parent involvement and things like that. So, which is where I'm at. We are considered low income Title I, but then the parent involvement isn't great. I just have a couple coloring sheets. Some of this stuff I didn't even do this year, but just some cute little coloring sheets. Here's I hesitate to like show you all the things that I have in here because like I said, I didn't do a lot of this stuff. But to go along with all the gingerbread stories that are out there, the gingerbread baby, the ninja gingerbread, whatever. This is like a mini book, coloring sheet. So there's like a girl version and a boy version. So I hesitate to show you all this stuff because I don't know where any of this stuff came from. Like nothing has their name on it. These are like Crayola coloring sheets. My kids are acting crazy. Some more coloring sheets. I got a couple Grinch things, but we didn't do anything Grinchy. I have a lot of things in here that I just didn't get to this year. I'm gonna introduce this math game this week. See, this is what I'm saying. So like last year, I obviously introduced this in December, but this year I'm gonna do it in January because we're gonna do all things snow. When we get back, we have 2 days, so I'm gonna do all things snow. So I'll save that for my New Year's video. We did solid liquids and gases. My intern needed to teach something, so. Anyway, I have lots of things that I just didn't get to this year. Like literally stacks of just stuff. We did lots of testing. iReady end of the year diagnostic test. We did a addition fluency just to test their fluency up to like 20. We had our lovely Christmas party. We did do with my little tree. Some parents donated. I got this idea off of like a TikTok or something that my mom had sent me, but we did a kindness tree, and I kind of thought the kids would be too old for it, but they bought into it, and it was like the most magical thing ever. So some parents donated like some miniature ornaments, obviously because it's like tiny, but they donated some miniature ornaments, and so every day I was like looking for somebody who did something kind. And some days it would be like a huge thing that was like, oh my gosh, this was so kind of you. And then if nothing like stood out to me like that, I would even just pick like the simplest thing. Like somebody one day helped a kid pick up their pencil pouch when they accidentally knocked off their desk and their crayons went everywhere. So they helped him pick that up. Just little things. Somebody asked somebody if they wanted to play one day while we had indoor recess. And I have a bunch of ESL kids, and one of my ESLs does not speak much English. And so all of my other ESLs have like worked really hard to try to like translate for me. So I let all of them have a kindness ball one day. I'll insert a picture of the tree at the beginning, or really at the end, because at the beginning it was empty. So I literally just put the lights on the tree and I put it up, and my kids thought it was magical, just like that. But then when I introduced the kindness balls, and they kind of like understood what was happening. So one day, the first day I gave out like 2 ornaments, and the next day my aide came in here. I have an aide for 30 minutes a day to help some of my kids, but my aide came in here and she was like, do you need some more ornaments for that tree? And I was like, no, why? And she was like, I don't, like talking about how bare it looked, but like didn't want to be ugly about it. And I was like, oh no, like it's bare for a reason. Like, anyway, so by the end it was full, and I ended up putting like little reindeer handprints that we had made. I ended up putting some of those up there along with on my like the fridge wall or whatever. Anyway, but it was just funny because for like the first week it was like bare. I did it the whole month of December, so it was only like 2.5 weeks for us. But as soon as we got back from Thanksgiving break, I started it. So really like 3 weeks, I guess. So the first week it was pretty bare, and by the end of it, it was full. But the kids loved it, and I definitely will do that from now on. And it made the tree more meaningful. And then the days like that I forgot, the kids were like, hey, who gets the kindness ball today? So they really bought into it and they loved it. And I mean, it was pretty magical. Like I said, I thought they would be too old for it, and I didn't think they would enjoy it, but they definitely did. And I'm not saying it would work for every group or every second grade class, but it worked for us, and I enjoyed it. So I'm gonna try it again next year. So yeah, I already put away all of my Christmas things, and I'm starting to prepare for January. Like I said, this is my Christmas break, and teachers go back on the 2nd of January, and the kids come back on the 4th. So we'll have the 2nd and the 3rd to finish getting my life together, but we also have like a bunch of PDs and things those 2 days, so I don't have a ton of time. So as mentioned on my other videos, if you don't like coming up here on your breaks, totally understandable, totally fine. I just prefer it. I enjoy it. A little clear mind while I'm in here, especially with not a lot of children running around screaming, having a good time. But that's just what I like to do. So that's why I'm in here. I'm gonna walk you around the room and just show you some of the things that I have that we did differently. I changed the desks around just for the Christmas party. We got some more anchor charts up on the wall, not a ton, but we got a few. So yeah, I'll just walk you around and show you some of the things that I changed in my room this year. Okay, so as far as the room goes, this is my Tattle versus Warren, and it goes with the Tattle Tongue book. Here's a little Tattle Tongue boy. So we're gonna redo this in January, but that's why that's up there. Some of the anchor charts we were able to do, these all go with my Savas lessons. Based on my other videos, not that many teachers are doing Savas. Like, that's not a curriculum that a lot of schools have adopted. But if you do Savas, I would love to hear from you. I don't know, I just like to hear people's different ideas and how they implement it and how they go about teaching the lessons and things like that. So if you do, feel free to message me, comment down below, and let's talk. I think it would be awesome to hear some other ideas. So nothing's really much changed over here, except for the mess I have on my counter. You really can't tell, but I have a giant mess from my borax. I had it all cleaned up, and then my crock pot was still full of the solution, so I had to dump that out, which then made a mess again. All right, so I'm gonna flip my camera around and just show you. Up here, I've already changed this out for my January books, but up here I had a bunch of Christmas books. So again, if you missed another video, I keep my holiday books in these, oh, sorry, I'm trying to get my booty on the ground. Okay, so I just keep my books in these bins. So these are holiday books. These are books that like teach a specific lesson, like adjectives and things like that, like teach a specific lesson. And then right here is old rooted in reading stuff. All right, so in here I have, these are like all the other holidays. Some of the Christmas ones I had out, I put at the beginning. So there was like a Rugrats, If You Take a Mouse to the Movies. I have a bunch of activities in that stack I just showed you that go with this. So there's some free TPT things if you own that book. The Nutcracker, I don't read all these. I just put them out for the kids. This one, The Pig, the Elf, The Biggest Christmas Tree Ever, Tintin Ghost, The Mouse Before Christmas, Who'll Guide My Sleigh Tonight. I have one of these for like Groundhog Day or something too. Christmas Gift, There Wasn't a Lady Who Swallowed a Bell. And then I think that stops my Christmas ones. But yeah, so these are all like other holidays. President's Day, beginning of the year, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, right here. Who will see their shadow this year? So that one's Groundhog's Day. But yeah, so that is what is in here. Mid-year update on this library situation. If you did not see my setup video, I explain this whole setup, but again, like my chapter books are, you can kind of tell like some of them are backwards and things like that. This is the shelf that my kids are not allowed to touch. I finally got the rest of my Mercy Watson books, so I think I'm just missing one or two now. One that hasn't come out yet, and like an older one, but this is the shelf they're not allowed to touch, so I use those for like my small groups and my read alouds. But this system right here with these colored things is working beautifully. So right before Christmas break, I went through, and it's easy for me to see which ones are wrong and which ones are right because of the colors. Oh, except for like this one right here. Oh no, that one's right. I was thinking that was the purple sticker. No, that one's right. So it was easy for me to see like which ones are wrong, which ones are right. And I was able to like swap them out pretty quickly. So I did that again right before Christmas break, and I only had to swap around like 3 or 4 books. Some of them down here, like the stickers, aren't sticking great, but I think if you use some like clear tape, they would stick a lot better. But yeah, so that's my setup for that. This said Merry Christmas up here, but I am quick to get down my I'm quick to get down my decorations and stuff. So this said Merry Christmas. I'm gonna change it out for like a New Year's thing. This all pretty much looks the same. This is, I had a bunch of like Christmas decorations up here, but I took them down again, getting ready for the new year. Need to fix some things. Everything looks the same. My sticker store still, that's obviously working great. I love doing that. This drawer system. Okay, so one thing that we do right before Christmas break is I make them empty out all of their old crayons, like all the broken ones and all the things they don't want, and we put it all in a tub and I sort through them. So right before I went home on Christmas break, I went through all their crayons and took all the ones that were still like whole and put them in here, because these were literally empty. Like right before, if you watch my setup video, you saw me dump like 2 packs of these like people crayons in here, and this was completely empty. So yeah, so I just take all their old crayons, like this one's really full. I just take all their old crayons and fill that back up, and then on their desks they all get a new pack of crayons when we come back, because their school supply list makes them bring like 2 or 3 boxes. So they'll all have a brand new box. And then I put their tables like this for our Christmas party, and I covered the desks with some wrapping paper that I got from Dollar Tree, and it was like coloring wrapping paper, so they were able to like go in and like color the images. One had the Grinch, one had Baby Yoda, but it was like all Christmas themed. One had like Frosty the Snowman, and there was one more. Oh, I think it was Charlie Brown. And so I covered like half with one and half with another. So it was like 2 rolls, and the roll only went halfway. So it's not like I wasted anything. The roll only went halfway. So each row had 2 different patterns on it, but they just sat in their desk and they colored that for morning work. And then they were in big groups for the Christmas party. We did everything whole group this year for the Christmas party. We all played the game on our carpet together with the saran wrap ball. And then everybody decorated their gingerbread house at the same time. And then I had like the 2 divided plates, like right here I had a divided plate, and here and here and here. And so they were able to like share with a divided plate, but all the divided plates had the same thing. So there was like marshmallows, there was sprinkles, there was baby M&Ms, chocolate chips, and icing. So there was lots of different things for them to pick from. Oh, and some dots, like dots? Gumdrops, that's what I'm thinking of, some gumdrops. So yeah, they had lots of options. They loved it. And another thing, I try not to have to do parties whole group because of something, it like takes away from it to me for some reason. But I ended up doing everything whole group this year, and it actually worked like beautifully. So I think I'm gonna keep that also. I need to make these notes and write these things down so I don't forget. But we did everything whole group, and it allowed me to focus my attention on one thing. So I didn't have to like manage 4 groups. And last year I tried to do 4 rotations because that's what the rest of my team did, and we've done it in the past or whatever like that. And that's what the rest of my team did. And so I was constantly trying to manage 4 different groups or rely on parents to manage the different groups, and it just didn't really work well. And it like kind of overwhelmed me, and I feel like it overwhelmed all the kids. And so anyway, everything was whole group this year, and it worked out perfectly. In my last video, I mentioned that I was going to redo this and try to buy these. So I was able to get these. I moved them because I was going to start moving my desk, and then I decided to film. So I did get these. So in the top drawer, this was inside their desk. So these are just their math kits, which I need to refresh Thursday and Friday when they come back. These are their handwriting books, which I didn't get through all of the print, but we've got to kick it into gear and start on cursive. And then these are just like free writing notebooks. We don't actually do anything with them, but they can word work in them. They can free write in them. If we, for whatever reason, need to glue something in them or keep them, we don't really do much. But so I have 5 kids in each tub. So there's 5 math bags, there's 5 handwritings, and 5 notebooks. And then here, scissors, glue sticks, the expo markers for their Tri-Fix-It boards. And again, these are just mini boards I bought off Amazon and then stuck these papers in them. I'm trying to think of, I only need 1 of these, and you can see that I have 2 of them. So I'm trying to think of something else I could put on the outside that would be just as useful, because this was a freebie off TPT, and it has been super helpful with math, especially 2nd grade, because a lot of the standards are like expanded form and breaking it down hundreds, tens of ones, like place value things. So this has been super helpful. So I'm trying to think of something that could go here. I'm just not sure what yet. Not sure what yet. So anyway, if you have any ideas, drop it down below and let me know, because it's just as simple as opening this up and sliding in a new sheet of paper. So everybody has one of those for our phonics lessons. Anyway, so all that stuff was either inside their desk, which are backwards, or in these drawers, and I felt like we weren't using the drawers, but my kids always use these math activities. So you see that some are backwards. So I have a drawer of dominoes if they want to play dominoes, or I have some domino, where are they? I don't really know. I had some domino, clearly I need to go through this door, and I shouldn't have shown it to you until I went through it. I have some domino math game sheets that go with this, so I need to find those. These are just flashcards addition and subtraction. These are right on, like wipe off, so 10 more, 10 less, 1 more, 1 less, and pattern blocks. So these are just, as the year progresses, I introduce new things based on whatever we're learning, and this year what I've been doing is as I learn it, I keep it out. Like there's no reason for me to put it away after a week of learning it. Like I get it out because we've learned it, but then I put it away and they never have a chance to learn it again, or, you know, to refresh their memory. So like we did shapes and I brought out all these, and this is something we practiced all year. These are clocks, so like I taught time and I brought these out, but then like why put them back away? They never have a chance to play them. So when they get done with their required math work, which is one I Ready lesson, and really it's like 10 minutes per day, but it ends up equaling out to like 1 or 2 lessons. And their flight fluency, they can come and pick one of these. This is a puzzle, so they have to like match the money with the, obviously this one doesn't go together, but they have to like match this with this. But again, they learned money, so I brought these out, but then like why put them away? Because if I don't, they're never gonna be able to. This is a hundreds chart. We did this at the very beginning. This was one of the first things I pulled out. And I just have them based like, and then numbered on the back. So all the reds are puzzle 8. All the purples are puzzle 7. And then they know they go back in this bags, puzzle 7 and 8. So all the purples go together and it's just like a puzzle, but it forms a hundreds chart. That was something I purchased off TPT last summer, and it was a lot of cutting and stuff, but it is what it is. More time, but this is actually, I thought it was a I have who has, but I don't think it is. It's actually a puzzle. So like there's a connecting side, says I am 549. So then the other side is purple and it says I am more than 500 and less than 600. So more than 500. Oh, this actually goes together, I think. So more than 500, less than 600. I have a 1. Oh no, it's not. I have a 1 in my ones place and nothing in my tens place. So it would be 501. I have a 1 in my ones place and nothing in my tens place. So yeah, it would be 501. So anyway. So there's that puzzle. And then this is just another clock puzzle. It has a clock on one side and a time, like a digital time on the other. And this side is, the popcorn game that my intern taught my kids how to play. So they just draw a piece blindfolded, like not blindfolded, but they just draw like a mystery piece, and then they each put it here, and they have to like pick 3 numbers. So they'll lay them out, and then whoever ends up with the biggest number gets a point or whatever. These I just bought off of Lakeshore Learning, I believe. Lakeshore, yeah. And so there's like, you know, these little pins that like talk to you and tell you if the answer is right or wrong. So it'll like tell them if the answer is right or wrong. They didn't really get a chance to play with these before we left for break, because I bought them late in the year and kept forgetting to bring batteries. So they did get to play with them a couple times, but not much. So again, there's a clock one, there's a money one, and then there is a place value one. And then I also started like a reading. I was gonna go up this side with reading, but I don't really have that much reading stuff because everything's so specific at my table. But this one's just like a reading comprehension for grade 2. So a lot of my higher readers can do that one. And then some of my higher readers, like if we're studying comprehension at my table as like their skill, then I can use those. So those are some things I mentioned I was going to change. These are still going good. I haven't added anything to them in a while, since literally Halloween. I'll insert a picture, but my kids did make a reindeer watercolor picture that I was going to put on there. Like my intention was to put them on there. But they were just so cute that I had to send them home so the parents could enjoy them over Christmas break. But yeah, so there is a look at my room. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like I said, I will be back with a New Year's, get ready for the new year, whatever, with me. And yeah, so thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now, guys.